attractive fire table, the comfort of enduring polywood patio furniture, unique yard art, and decorative flags for every season. Visit Mountain View Nursery and Garden Center.
This is All About Home Construction, and here's your hosts, Terry Cannell-Beck and Randy Blake.
That's right. Good morning, Randy.
Morning, Terry.
Happy Saturday, man.
Happy Saturday to you all out there.
Woohoo. A lovely high country football game. We're going to have a bunch of other things going on in the region Saturday. 40-plus thousand people coming into Boone. But that's okay.
And you got Bristol this weekend?
That's what I mean. Like, Bristol's going on. I think something else smaller was going on.
I think that was me, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know. Everybody's coming in for the VFW steak dinner, coming off the mountain to come in and eat some steak at Randy's dinner tonight. The Rock and Roll Kitchen firing up at 4 o'clock. You show me some pictures now. Those steaks look pretty thick and juicy.
Oh, yeah. The big ones are for all you big eaters out there.
Nice. So
them 32-ounce ribeyes right at 2 1/8, 2 1/4 thick.
Ooh, so is this one of those you need to plan ahead things and call ahead and reserve, or can I just show up at 4 o'clock?
Just show up. What we did was we downsized a little.
Right.
There's no bone in it this time, so that actually cut the cost $10 on the plate.
Nice.
So we're $40 for it. We dropped 4 ounces on the porterhouse down to a 20-ounce, so that gets us down to $30.
Nice.
And
Yum.
And then we went back to the 10-ounce ribeye, for little guys, little families, stuff like that, and $20. And then the salmon. The salmon started going over great. I sold out of salmon last time.
Good for you. I'm glad somebody likes salmon.
And then we have
You can have all of my salmon, by the way.
I know he's got like that.
But it's okay. Look, some people like it. I mean, and I get it. Yeah,
then we're trying a new chicken dish.
I saw the picture you showed me there.
It's an Italian gnocchi.
Sure.
And
does it look like I eat a lot of fancy foods, Randy?
No, but you know what? That was a request to add chicken, and we did. It's been a while since we did the pork chops, and the pork chops went over great.
I like pork chops.
With the peanut sauce, but
pork chops are good.
So if you want a good meal, and come on out, you can watch the football game and just enjoy life and beat the 40,000 at stadium. Excuse me.
Well, it's going to get crowded in Boone fast. I noticed on the way in this morning when it was still dark, tow trucks pulling people off campus that weren't supposed to be parking. And
wow!
It's already started up. It's a busy morning. It's not even hardly 8 o'clock. So, but that's like it or love it, right? That's what makes Boone Boone. And
yes, it is.
One thing I get it. I complained too when it was as far as the traffic and stuff. And the truth is, though, it brings a lot of money into the county. And so, for economic reasons, you got to look at it and kind of accept part of it, at least. So.
Well, we are a growing community.
Yep.
And
I mean that's it, right? Like you got to either grow or not, and that's kind of where small town America is.
Or you turn stagnant,
and that's what happens so many places, especially in the Appalachian region, right? When you expand out into the region, I mean, look at all those places up in Kentucky that flooded. Was it last year?
Yeah.
There's a lot of desolate, poor towns that didn't grow, and so like it or love it, at least we're growing, and we're bringing more economic resources into the county, and I think that's a good thing.
And that's what's really kept us alive here.
Sure. And I mean, it's why we have one of the best, if not the best, school system in the county. It's why we have. Granted, we need to work on the infrastructure, and I think we could probably do a whole show of what we do need to improve. But it's why we have what we do have, I guess.
Well, we definitely need an infrastructure. We've needed an infrastructure for 20 years.
Well, and I would agree with that. When you've got 3 large 2-lane highways coming into one 2-lane road downtown, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure traffic doesn't flow that way.
Correct.
And that's always been my issue. When they expanded the 4-lane through New Market and all the way to King Street, downtown at the
Daniel
Boone Inn there. Yeah, I always said it doesn't really make sense because traffic just stops there now instead of what used to be back up in New Market. It clogged up. But then going to 105, going to or from Banner Elk. It used to be, depending on the time of day, you would get stuck in traffic going either to or from back into Boone. But now it's traffic both ways. It's backed up. And
well, the biggest complaint about when they did 321 was Blowing Rock said you're going to destroy our downtown.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't. It actually increased the downtown.
Yeah.
The tractor flow because
now now it's a purpose. You're not just piling through there and trying to get out of it.
That's right. You're not running a tractor trailer downtown.
Yeah. But to me the problem with Boone though is they can't do like Blowing Rock did. Blowing Rock was able to go around pretty easy still in terms of construction, but now in Boone it's such a bowl and you've built up. Where are you going to put the bypass if you did?
Well, everybody complains about not destroying our mountains. Well, if you're going to grow, you got to grow.
And that's the whole thing. But anyway, I don't know how we got on this subject already, but it's okay.
I guess
because we were complaining about traffic on a Saturday morning, and that's how we got on this subject.
My wife calls 4:21 in the morning the creepy crawly zone.
Oh man. Well, yesterday I had to go to Carson's the Watauga football game down in Lexington, and left the school, had to go across King Street, get ready, and then turn around and come back out. And I bet I spent an hour in traffic in Boone, going across King Street and then back across King Street. What is it, 6 miles or 8 miles or whatever it is? It took me an hour to drive. I mean, it was a nightmare, but it's all right. I made it to the game. They played good, 56-14.
Congratulations to Watauga.
Watauga's on fire, 5-0 right now. So it's been fun to watch. Hey, speaking of Watauga and the football team, part of the FCA group at Watauga High School is having an event, Randy, on October the 8th, and that's going to be a Fields of Faith event, and they're inviting everyone out to that October the 8th, Fields of Faith. So put that on your long-term calendar. Well, long-term, it's less than a month, but there you go.
Hey, keep it in mind.
There you go. So, how's the world of construction going? We've talked a little bit about infrastructure and complained a little bit this morning, but how's the world of construction going?
Well, we talked about, we have mentioned that class I took a couple weeks ago, which we were required to do 8 hours a year to retain our license.
Right.
And one of the biggest things about it is license changing. All right, the amount of money that you can bill with, or not amount of money that you can bill with, but how our license have increased.
Right.
Okay, because of the cost of building. The state of North, the people that does the classes are from Raleigh. And it was very enjoyable to talk to this guy because he does work for state of North Carolina Home Builders Association.
Right.
And that's what he was talking about is prices are not going to go back down; they're going to increase.
Exactly.
And
that's that'll eventually lead to our topic here in just a little bit. Prices of anything is not going down, right? I mean, look at groceries, look at gas, and construction is not going to be any different. It's. We were talking before the show. We saw a report where 88% of construction companies in the nation are reporting difficulty finding workers.
Correct.
That alone is going to drive up the cost of construction. When you don't have a workforce, when you do have, the workforce you do have, they know they're in high demand, and they can demand more money and get more money, and then that's just going to be passed on to the customer.
Well, let's do a little different scenario here. You got the restaurant companies, the fast foods, wanting to hire between $16 and $20 an hour. It's not that hard to teach somebody how to cook a little because everything you put it in the fryer and you push the button, the timer goes on. Now, if you got a guy that's going to come out here and never drove nails before, never read a set of plans, don't even know how to read a tape,
right?
And they're wanting $20 an hour. Now, who's going to pay for that?
Well, and that's the catch. That's the problem. There's, and I feel like more and more, in today's construction, and by all means, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like in the construction field today, you've got to be a lot more specialized. In other words, you've got to be able to do that stuff. There's very few people who get to come in, and my job now is to clean up the job site and haul the lumber. Like, in other words, those sort of the day laborers, if you will. It seems like, because of the fact that it's hard to hire people and get people to stay. Like, you don't have that what used to be the minimum wage guy cleaning up the job site.
Correct. And so when you pay, let's take this guy at $15 an hour that doesn't want to work for $15 an hour because he wants to go somewhere else and work for $20 an hour.
Right.
But if your workman's comp 17%.
Right.
See?
Well, there you go. That's something that's a whole nother thing where while that one, let's just say that worker's getting $20 an hour, the business is paying more than $20 per hour for that kid, for that that young worker. I mean, when you look at it, you're paying workman's comp, you're paying the other insurance. You've got to factor in the cost. Okay, he bent 3 nails, and while 3 nails may only be a few pennies a piece, well, he did that every day, and so stuff like that, those little mistakes, and I'm trying to exaggerate using a penny, a nail, but the truth is, like, it adds up. You cut a board short, now you're in short materials, and that's just a part of doing business. I know that, but when you got the new person at $20 an hour now, it's probably costing you what, $30?
No. At $20 an hour, time you pay insurances and everything out, you're going to have to charge at least $45 to $50 an hour for that person. See, that covers your insurances, your taxes. See, just like your paycheck every month that you do, you know what you pay in federal tax and state tax, stuff like that, and your half of your Social Security, your employer pays your other half.
That's true.
All right, but state of North Carolina don't tell you how much they pay you for your workman's comp. Mm-hmm. They don't tell you how much they pay in liability insurance. Okay,
right.
So
because the state gets under that tort reform instead. That's how they get around it.
And most people don't realize that if you got $500,000 cash in your bank account, that you can actually insure your employees yourself.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Did not realize
that used to be a real and. Because that's one thing my son, we've talked, Will, they own their own company, and now they've made enough money that they're wanting to start their own insurance plan for their people through the funds in their company. And so I don't know what Oklahoma's is out there, but it used to be $500,000 here in the state of North Carolina. You had to prove that you could cover. But, today, $500,000 is not going to cover nothing.
No.
I just got to, I don't know what I was doing on my paperwork, but when I had the 3 stents put in, it was $105,000.
Right.
For my stents.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad the doctors out there did it. I'm glad I had Medicare.
Right.
But the same thing applies back to the construction field.
Mm-hmm.
All right. My insurance went up $1 million in liability last year.
Yep.
Okay, because they want to drop builder's risk on a home.
Exactly.
And so that puts, instead of us buying the insurance to cover anything that's stole or burned or destroyed, now our liability insurance covers it. And the thing about it is, it's a fight to get liability insurance to cover anything.
Right.
Because that paperwork's probably 40 pages of it, and so many exemptions in it that if you don't do what you're told, excuse me, I know that's a bad statement. If you don't do what you're required, then your liability insurance won't do it. And what I mean by that is, if you don't follow code regulations, manufacturer specifications, liability insurance won't cover anything.
Right.
And people don't think about that. Well, my roof's blown off. Well, the insurance guy comes out, he looks at it, and he finds out that the roofer only put 3 nails in the shingle instead of 5.
Yep.
Okay? Then your insurance will not cover it.
Exactly.
So, see, there's a fine line.
But then that goes back, you can make that argument, Randy, that goes back to when, that you've got this guy that you're paying, this new worker, they're going to make more mistakes, and if they're not trained properly, and then they're the ones who are going to be, doing those mistakes when it comes down to it.
People think about this right here. I used to tell my employees that started out when, I was paying them, I never did pay minimum wage.
Right.
Okay. And as a rule of thumb, you're going to cost me $10,000 the first year.
Right.
And they're going, what do you mean? I said, well, how many times a day do you ask me a question? And they said, well, what do you mean? I'm asking something. I said, sometimes it's better to watch and learn than it is to stop everybody on the job from working, because that's the amount of time that you're losing, because 1 minute is a dollar amount on the job. All right. Then you got to talk about sawing. What happens if they cut let's say 20 studs 2 inches short? Yeah, it ain't no big deal. You can turn around and use them in blocking. But that's what your cutoffs are on your other long materials that you can't get. Or what I mean, your drop, we call them a drop when you cut off a piece, and you can use them for corners and tees and stuff like that. So everything's a figured calculation on everything that we build. And let's say it takes 150 pickets to do a railing, okay, and you got a Pacific railing where you're going to put the bottom of the railing 3.5 inches off.
Right.
All right. Then you go put pickets in between them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then all of a sudden, they've cut them a 1/2 inch short.
Right.
Now they all run.
Well, see, that's and that goes back. I mean, and yes, there's someone out there saying, well, that's just the cost of doing business. It is the cost of doing business, but as a contractor, you can't eat that cost every single day, every single job. I mean, you would go under, right?
Correct.
I mean, and that's the thing, and it's so. A lot of this is not, Randy trying to make $100 on a, profit. A lot of this is just Randy trying to stay afloat, and trying to just to make a profit, And we're not talking where it's always going to be a large profit. And I think that's what, and I made this argument. I've made it forever. Any business, right? Whenever you can start any business in the world, and people just assume that when you work for yourself, you make a lot of money. And they don't, because they don't see all those extra costs into it.
Yeah, and they don't see that gray on your head, from figuring the cost out. But
anyway, we'll take a little break, and then we'll get back into the actual show this morning. Thanks for listening to us. Happy Saturday. Are you looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment you need to get the job done? Look no further than Blue Ridge Sawmills. We offer the full line of Hudson sawmills and sawmilling equipment, from portable sawmills to skidding winches. At Blue Ridge Sawmills, we understand that every project is different, which is why we offer a wide range of sawmilling services. We can help you from everything from finding the right mill for your farm, hobby, or even your business. We also offer a variety of sawmilling supplies, such as blades and debarkers, so you can get everything you need in one place. If you're looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment and the service you need, then come to Blue Ridge Sawmills. We're here to help you get the job done. Call or visit our Cana, Virginia store at 276-755-3833 or our Asheboro, North Carolina location at 336-964-8304. That's right. All about home construction here on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. Give us a call, 828-262-1567, and we will put you right on the air if you have any questions. Or check out the Facebook page, All About Home Construction, allabouthomeconstruction at gmail.com. We get some emails occasionally from there. And people listen to us all over on the podcast as well. So if you missed this or you want to share it with some friends, if you're listening to us live on WATA, you can still go back and listen to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. We're on YouTube now, too. Everybody knows how to search on YouTube. Everybody knows how to tell their smartphones or Alexa or whatever device you got to play something. And so now you can. So there you go.
And I did it.
Yeah, it works.
On Alexa.
I'm telling you, Alexa's my new friend.
And
don't forget Randy's dinner coming up tonight, 4 o'clock, the VFW, some steak dinner. This is one of those you can show up for. You didn't have to pre-register or whatever you want to call it.
That's correct.
I don't know. Pre-register, I guess, doesn't seem like a fancy. This is a walk-in dinner. Reservations, that's the word I'm looking for. Not registered. Reservations.
We're not having reservations
tonight.
Reservations
tonight. So, talking a little bit on the show today. So, this kind of ties into what our soapbox earlier of infrastructure and then going into the cost of building. And so much, right, when we start talking about the cost of building, and as I say this, Randy, by the way, is over here with a calculator and a sticky notes and a pen and staring at his computer, adding and subtracting and multiplying and dividing and counting on his fingers and toes. So
not.
But I say that because it's such a weird thing when I go up to you, if I called you up on the phone, I'm like, hey, Randy, I want to build a house. How much is it going to cost me? There's really no answer to that, right? I mean, we can see things and we can look online and we can see that the average square foot or the average building cost in North Carolina per square foot in Asheville is $150. The average square foot price in Wilmington's $130. We see this,
and it ain't. You can't believe it.
But that's it. I mean, this is like there's so much that goes into it. Like we can see averages, and we can look across the state, and we can say, okay, the material cost in a home for North Carolina is going to be, and then right. Like whatever. I mean, the material cost itself, this one website we were looking at was $150,000 for material price. And then it says the contractors are charging, for their other professionals and stuff like that, you're charging 10 to 20% on top of that. And it's just then electrical costs and then roofing costs is not part of that. So then you added that and plumbing costs. I don't know. I say that because there's so many things, and it seems like everything you look at is like everybody wants to be cheap, like because we want to buy cheap. I mean, we want to get the best bang for our buck. But when you look at it, like there's no real answer because I mean, so much is in play, right?
Correct. And what Terry was talking about me running numbers here, okay, and to give you an idea. A 16-foot pressure-treated board, number 2, from a local building supply here. Not local, but,
right.
National chain, is 80 cents a running foot, okay? Now, that's a number 2. We've already discussed back in the previous shows, last year, that your warranty's not worth nothing if you don't keep it.
Right.
And these boards are lasting about 10 years, okay? And so if you go with synthetic decking, per linear foot is $2.60 a linear foot. Now, that doesn't include the stainless steel screws or the clips.
Right.
Neither does the 80 cents a linear foot for the pressure-treated include the screws or nails, which nails are cheaper. Everybody knows that, but there's nothing worse than a guy that don't know how to set the pressure on his gun or the depth of his gun, and he drives it underneath, and all of a sudden, here in a few years, you got splinters coming up.
Yep.
And but I was we've done material cost in the past, okay, and when things were really getting hard for COVID and everything was going up.
Yep.
Well, sturdy floor plywood got up to $94.88 a few years.
Yep, we remember that.
And then it got all the way down to $44 a sheet. All right. Now today it's $84 a sheet. See, so
doubled again.
Yes, it has. And so these numbers that they're saying $150 a square foot is not achievable at all.
Well, and that's, I mean, really, when you think about that, like, what would that even take? You're talking about bad insulation, the cheapest insulation you can get.
Yeah.
You're talking about the cheapest framing lumber you can get. Like for $150 a square foot, you're talking about cheap carpet.
You can't even. The thing about it is, it can't be done.
No, I mean that's my point. Like you're talking about one electrical outlet and one little bitty, no fancy, just a cheap light. I mean, my point is, there's so many things that, like, for $150, if you can even get close to that, you're talking about the most subpar materials you can. You're talking about plastic faucets, right?
Yeah, and you're talking about stuff you build trailers with.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, and that's sort of where my point is. It's just not realistic when you build a stick-built house.
And
I'm wondering, and I don't know this, and maybe I need to do a little more research. When we say, okay, how much does it cost to build a house in North Carolina, and then we pull up these Forbes websites and all these things, and we see this $420,000 price range kind of thing, number getting through. Does that include in their figures these modular houses?
I'd say it probably does.
I would imagine too.
They're averaging. To give you an idea, at Lowe's, a roll of Romex, 212, 250-foot rolls, $108.
Yep.
Okay. Used to be.
Oh, wait, how many roll? How many feet?
250 feet. Used to get a roll for $28.
So let's say you had a room, 12 by 12 or 10 by 10, right? And you were running an outlet on every single wall.
Well, there you go. You got to meet code now.
Well, that's what my point. My point is, though, to run an outlet, if you wanted an extra outlet, how many extra feet are you going to have to go? There's a good chance, a very good possibility that you're doing half a roll to do one more outlet.
Yeah, 312 is $126. But now let's get back into some scenarios that came about in around 2008 and 9 in the green building industry. Mm-hmm. Okay, to make your home more energy efficient, they wanted you to run the wire down the middle of the stud, drill through the floor, travel across, then come back up the wall and go to the box and go back down and go all the way around the room like that right
just
there.
Doubled or tripled your linear foot on the wire.
Yes, and
that's one thing, and I guess that's my point, right? That's the one thing. That's just the wire. That's not the drilling. That's not the paint. You know what I mean? Like every single thing you choose or do adds up. I mean, it's not just, hey, I'm building a house and I'm doing these two things. I mean, you're not just putting up studs and then siding and calling it done. There's so much that goes into it.
Yeah, behind the scenes, the little
little things you don't see. That's code. I don't know why I'm stuck on the electrical, but while you're on electrical, I mean, there's plates. Nail to keep you from nailing into it. There's plates and stuff that 99% of the homeowners don't even know exist behind the wall. That but by code you got to put them in, and that's not free. You got to buy those, and you got to put those in. And
well, it's I'm
getting excited.
That's all right, but it is a cost. Okay.
Yep.
That people don't associate with, and you're correct there. Just like the plumbers, when he runs, in between us, anywhere he runs through the floor, he has to put a plate in it so you can't drive a drywall nail to it. Or those plates are strong enough that an 8-penny gun nail won't shoot through it. Yep. See, so that's an important part there that people overlook.
That's it. Well, we're going to take another break here, and then we'll come right back right after this. Thanks for listening to us. Obviously, by listening to this podcast, you see the value of All About Home Construction. Well, by joining our listener-supporter community, you're not just tuning in, you're standing with us as we are able to support and fuel our passions of the construction industry. As a listener-supporter, you'll enjoy exclusive perks, including hearing your name, or maybe even your business name, on our show. So please go to our Spotify website. The link will be in the show notes, and join. You can join for as little as as $1 one-time fee, $1 a month, $5 a month, whatever you think you can afford. Every single penny helps to keep this show going as we can continue to grow and do lots more things. Thanks a lot. And again, more importantly, thank you for listening to this. That's right. All about home construction here on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. And hey, don't forget the steak dinner coming up tonight. You can go over there and watch the App State game and eat rock and roll kitchen steaks, salmon and chicken tonight.
Yeah, I got chicken and
nice.
You know, we're trying to cater to everybody. You know, don't forget, for vegetarians, you can come get a baked potato or a salad.
Nice. I like a baked potato. Of course, I like bacon and stuff like that on my baked potato, which doesn't make it vegetarian anymore. But well, you know, that's just me.
But that's for vegetarian people.
Yeah, that's hey, everyone. Hey, I don't knock it. I just like bacon. I like meat. Anyway, so let's get back into this this discussion here. I don't know why I'm excited this morning. It's one of those days, I guess. But
he's got parked cars.
Parked cars.
Yeah, that's the reason why.
But and I got back late last night, so maybe I'm just a little delirious.
Well, Carson did a good job.
Carson did good. I mean, they won.
Excuse me.
Yeah, the whole team did. But
yes.
I mean, obviously, I'm jealous about or partial about my boy, my little baby boy. But you know, anyway, I say all that. So getting back to this cost of building thing, and you know, again, there's so many factors into it. Well, we live in the mountains, obviously, and we've talked about how all the flat land in the mountains and the valleys, all the flat land is gone.
Yeah,
there is. You show me a flat property in the high country. I dare you. Show me an open flat.
Well, if it is flat,
besides a football field,
it's probably in the floodplain or the floodway.
Yeah. So my point being is, we live in the mountains, and the mountains are not flat, and therefore, the cost of building's higher, but there's a lot that goes into that when you're talking about building on the side of a mountain.
Well, you know, there is a lot more into it, because think about it. You know, your road's going to cost you more, okay? Your septic tank's going to cost you more. Your well's not necessarily going to cost you more, not unless the health department tells you have to put it in another spot on your lot where you have to go in and doze in another road just to get your well in. See, so that's all unexpected cost. And but another thing about it is the amount of cut that you have to do to get on that steep lot.
Right.
So you're either going to make a bigger cut or you're going to go deeper in the ground. Okay, because your foundation has to be on solid ground.
Yep.
A lot of problems that you see with older homes that are failing is because part of the foundation's on fill.
Right, and then it's just given out, right?
And you know, Tar Heel Basement and Ramjack has made a living off these contractors that didn't put their house on solid ground. Okay.
Well, yeah, but then that raises up that opens another can of worms, right? If I dig in to get to solid ground, again, we're on the side of a mountain. If I have a 30% grade and I dig in and I have to go down, you know, I could very well go down 20, 30 feet.
Correct.
From the top the original top surface.
Correct. And to give you an idea, we worked on a house at Linville Ridge, and the lower side of the house was 52 block high to get that house in.
Yeah.
Okay. The back side of it that they backfilled against was 18 feet high.
See,
so they had to bring in field to do that.
But now you've got to worry about, first of all, you got to worry about sliding down the mountain, and that's a whole other thing. But you can't just dig one place. Anything you dig affects everything up above it.
Correct.
And so now you got retaining walls that you have to put in. And that's an added cost, and you know it's a whole can of worms.
And North Carolina changed the code on retaining walls. It used to be 5 foot out of the ground. Now it's 4.
Okay.
And that's exposed area.
Okay. But how far into the ground does it have to go? Does the code state that?
Most retaining walls are engineered.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got a guy comes, an engineer comes out and looks at it.
Okay.
And so that's an added cost. Here I'm looking at a picture of an Asheville home here that's got a retaining wall on the side of the house, and the retaining wall's 12 foot tall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and here we've been talking about the football today. If you go around ASU, you can see these large retaining walls. Those over here on 105 at the gas station at Zippy's, there's a big retaining wall at that. And all that's engineered, and all that has to be done correctly, or it's going to fail.
Well, and that's the thing, and it's easy to see these big commercial jobs, the ASU behind the stadium there, like you said, when you got these big complexes, even behind the radio station here, against the river or the creek bank.
Yeah.
Yes, those are big, but there's some houses that have to do pretty much the same thing. When you get, even though it's residential, you go up. I mean, how many times have you been up driveways that are so hard to get up? They're almost too steep. All the gravel washes off of them.
Correct.
And then when you get up, then they've got an 8-foot retaining wall that's holding when you make the turn in the driveway to go up the next part, there's 8-foot, 12-foot retaining wall holding it up.
Yeah, we looked at a job a few years ago. Well, about 10 years ago, where the retaining wall was 2 sections. One section was probably 5 foot, and there was no problem with it, but the other section that was 20 foot high was blowing out.
Yep. I was reading something where the what is considered a steep grade, and gentle slopes is generally considered anything under 10 degrees. 4 to 10 degrees is considered a gentle slope. Moderate slopes is in the 10 to 15, but then steep slopes is when you get over 15. And, of course, then you got, extremely steep, when you get over 30. But you think about that. It doesn't take – if you remember back in your old geometry days, when you calculate slopes and stuff, it's a 3-inch, 3 inches in 36 feet, that's 8% grade.
Well, Will's house.
36 inches. Well, 3 inches and 36. In other words, 3 inches and 3 feet is considered an 8% grade. Yeah, now, typically, you would measure that out in feet, not inches, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, there's a difference between roof slope and grade slope.
Mm-hmm.
Grade slope's done in 100 foot.
Right.
You see a mountain that's a road says 8% grade for the next 5 miles. Okay, that's 8 feet and 100 feet.
Yep.
And
but it's not much when you think about it. We can all.
It is when you're pulling.
It is when you're pulling. No, but what I'm saying, it's not much to find. I guess it's not uncommon. I guess is where I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
If there's, think about it. How many hills, even yards, right? How many people have to push a lawnmower up their yard, and you realize real fast that going up, 8 feet and 100 feet is not very hard. Not very hard to find is what I'm trying to say. Like it's a common occurrence. It is very hard to push up. Yes, is being my point. So,
but there's houses out here on steep grades where they have. I've seen them have 2 sub basements.
Yep.
And what I mean by a sub basement is the track co goes in, digs a spot out for him to set himself, digs down again for a flat spot to set again. And then they start the foundation down there.
So you got to work yourself out or to it.
Yeah. So your first section of your foundation might be up 10 foot.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then it ties back into another footer, so it's wider again.
Yeah.
And then it comes up to your regular basement.
Almost like a stair step to get up to.
To get up to it, and that's to keep your footprint smaller. Yeah. All right. And I got to reading. I don't have them now, but Blue Ridge Mountain Club was a good indication about we want a small footprint, but this is what you have to do to build on steep slope.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's how they got into it with sub-basements.
Yeah.
All right, and each sub-basement has to be a living area, so now you have to calculate how to get into it.
That's what I was getting to say. Like you have to, and more importantly, you have to get out of it, right? Like the egresses, and I think that's. It's great. And I'm a big proponent of, if I'm building a house on the side of the mountain, when this goes back to that magic number, is broad paintbrush per square foot, but per square foot, by adding a basement, if you're already digging out 20, 30 feet, even 10 feet, per square foot, you're better off just building the basement.
Correct.
Or, instead of a crawl space, but even an unfinished basement. But
when I built my uncle's house around 2002, it was on a very slight grade, and I went ahead and still put a 4-foot crawl space under. And to give you an idea, 28-foot wide.
Yep.
There was 2 block in the back, and only 1 block was covered. So we had a little under 4. We had 42 inches exposed.
Sure.
But it made it easier for people to work.
Yeah. I've just never understood, and I know this is just me, but I've never understood where you have a crawl space that's 10, 12 feet tall. Why don't you just make it a basement? But
I agree with you.
Anyway, let's just take another break, and we'll come right back right after this. Obviously, by listening to this podcast, you see the value of All About Home Construction. Well, by joining our listener-supporter community, you're not just tuning in, you're standing with us as we are able to support and fuel our passions of the construction industry. As a listener-supporter, you'll enjoy exclusive perks, including hearing your name, or maybe even your business name, on our show. So please go to our Spotify website. The link will be in the show notes, and join. You can join for as little as $1 one-time fee, $1 a month, $5 a month, whatever you think you can afford. Every single penny helps to keep this show going as we can continue to grow and do lots more things. Thanks a lot. And again, more importantly, thank you for listening to this. That's right. All About Home Construction here on WAT. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. So I have a question for you as we, and first of all, I'm glad the break's over. By the way, Randy's over here telling some great jokes, and I'm glad to get back into the show and not his jokes, his termite jokes.
Clint eats wood.
That's his new pet, termite. Clint eats wood.
That was somebody said.
I don't know. Randy's jokes. Where's mine's at?
Well, you're talking about construction costs now. Let's get back into let's go off topic here. Louisiana was the first state to pass a law that all homes had to be built out of treated wood. Now, I wonder what's happened to that since they've took the arsenic out.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Because
termites eat pressure-treated wood now.
Well, the Formosa termites could. Mm-hmm. The Formosa termites will actually eat through the mortar in your block.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've never seen them, but I've heard that. But well, let's finish up here about this steep slope a little bit, because I have a question. When we do, we kind of started the show talking about how these unattainable cost per square foot. Most of that in North Carolina is considered in the Piedmont or coast where you're building on slab. On grade. Why don't we see more like piered type construction, like stilts, if you will?
Well, we built Will's house on stilts, okay, and we built it on a 62% grade. We actually built the house energy efficient. I mean, it ain't but $1,250 square foot, but it was $80 a month, but we had one post in that foundation that was an 8x8 that was actually 28 foot long.
Okay.
So we met the 45-degree rule for blowout from the footers behind it.
Now explain that to me real fast.
If on a post house or on your deck post, okay, let's say on your lower footer of your house, okay. Now when a footer's poured, the engineers look at it that it change the footer footprint is at a 45-degree angle. So even though let's say the footer's 16 inches wide,
right, it's
a 45-degree expansion as it comes out.
Okay.
Because the way the house is pushing it down, the 45-degree angle is going to get wider and deeper.
Okay.
All right. So when you put a next footer below it, you got to put it down lower than what the 45-degree blowout would be. I know it's hard to understand.
Well, you're saying, it's not a big deal on a flat surface because, you're going out 45 degrees, you're not touching it. But when you get on a 30 degree slope, 45 degrees is greater than 30 degrees.
Yeah, because
so you got to go down. Sometimes I'm seeing what you're saying.
Because on the back piers, we had to be, the top of the footer had to be 2 foot under the ground.
Yep.
Okay, so there that is. So we calculated what the 45 would be to the center footer, so we had to go down lower than that. So if it ever blew out, it'd blow out above the footer.
Right.
So the lower footers were even deeper than that. Yep. Now, we were able to step up on the middle footer and the other footer, but we had to have a 28-foot post on the lower side, and when we backfilled it, we was only out of the ground 15 foot.
Uh-huh.
But, everybody's probably out there listening going, well, what's the cost of that? And I said, well, to give you an idea, we saved $19,000 on doing a masonry foundation.
Okay.
By putting it on piers. And another thing we was able to do was we were able to get the treated piers with the arsenic in it.
Aha.
See, now we can order them. Contractors can order them. Homeowners can't get them.
Still, like even now?
Yeah.
Okay.
And for certain things that you do, we can use them in.
Nice.
But, now they're wanting us to put our post deck on piers now instead of putting them in the ground because they're not holding up.
I'm with you. All right. Another show in the books. Again, don't forget about the dinner tonight. And have a good time. Good luck, Randy.
Hey.
And Rock and Roll Kitchen fired up, man.
Hey, last one was such a success. Thank y'all.
Love it. All right, man. We'll see you next time. Take it easy, everybody. Thanks for listening to us. See you later.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to our podcast all about home construction. Our show airs live on WATA Radio in Boone, North Carolina every Saturday morning. Check out our Facebook page, All About Home Construction. Leave your tips and comments there. Also, subscribe, like, and share this with a friend.